Do you find your bookshelf boring? So in today's How to Slice, we're gonna be checking out some awesome book nooks. So let's go. So in this video, we're gonna be checking out the Devil Woman book nook. As you can see, this is a really nice model to display in your shelf, in your bookshelf. It gives a really nice effect because your shelf is gonna be looking like the Devil Woman is coming out of the books. So make sure you print this project. As you can see, I just opened up over here in Prusa, and we're gonna have to print more than one plate. As you can see, it's not gonna fit everything in this build plate. So what we're gonna do is print the Devil Woman and her crown in one print, and we're gonna print the box in another print, because like this we're gonna be able to print all the models. And what we're gonna do is print this plate over here. Let's go to print settings over here, and what we're gonna do is print the model with 0.22 millimeters, so it prints a little bit quicker. And the box, we're gonna be increasing the layer height because it does not need to print with a good quality as this, because it's just a box. The principal model needs to have a really low layer height so we can get a better quality. As you can see, 0.22 millimeters is fine for this occasion because it's a really big model. You're not going to be able to see those tiny print lines. So 0.22 is perfectly fine. So going to infill, we're going to be selecting a fill density of 10%. 10% is perfect for this case. And we're going to be selecting gyroid. Gyroid is a really nice infill. It prints in waves, so your printer never goes on a straight line and you do not get resonance. So the chance of your print failing is really low. Over here is skirt and brim. We do not need any brim. For skirt, you can leave the minimum at 2. It doesn't even matter that much. For brim type, you do not need any brim because this model has got a good bed adhesion to the table. It's got a really big contact area to the build plate, so we do not need any brim. As for support material, we do not need any support material, so untoggle this because this model is optimized for printing, so you do not need supports. As you can see, this model is ready to print. But what we're gonna do is going back to print settings. As you can see, this type of horns over here, we're gonna reduce a little bit of the speed so this model can print perfectly. It does not need support over here, but it will need to reduce a little bit of speed, so to make sure that we got a good quality in this print right here. So we're gonna go to speed and reduce the speed to 60 millimeters a second. As you can see, we got perimeters, so we're gonna be reducing the perimeters to 60 millimeters a second. Small perimeters is fine. External perimeters, you can select 62. In infill, you can be selecting 70, but for most solid infill, 70. You can leave it at 60 top. Solid infill 70, everything for infill 70, but for the perimeters 60 millimeters a second, so we can print in a good quality and you're not gonna have any fails in the horn part of the print. And over here in gap fill, we're gonna be selecting 60 millimeters. So the model is ready to print, and we're gonna print at a slower printing speed just to make sure we got a good quality. So we're ready to print. So as for the box, we're gonna be changing some parameters because the box does not need to be at high quality, and we can be reducing a little bit of the infill because as you can see, this whole part is filled with infill, and we can reduce that because this is a decoration model. So as you can see, go to print settings. First in layers and perimeters, you can be increasing the layer height to 0.26 millimeters so we can print quicker. Over here in infill, you can be reducing to 8% so it prints faster, and support material still does not need any support material. And over here in speed, you can print at your default speed because this model does not have tiny overhangs, small parts. It can be print fairly quick. So the box is ready to print without any issues. It's gonna take some time, but it will fit in a build plate that has 220 by 220 millimeters. It is basically the default minimum for every printer out there. Just the Bambu Lab A1 is a A1 Mini. It's a little bit smaller, so you're gonna have to be reducing a bit the model, the scale. So let's see for the colored version. So as you can see, it just opened up the colored version and it looks really nice. So the prime tower is located over here. We can just remove the prime tower to the far left over here, where it is most common. And as you can see, this model is really beautiful. If you want, you can change the colors right here in the left. Let's say you wanna print this with blue eyes. So like select blue eyes and we change the color. This is really nice. Bambu gives you a preview so you can change the colors however you want to see how you're gonna print. So this model does not need any support. It looks really nice. And let's see some ways to reduce filament usage. So I just sliced the model to show you something. As you can see, the model is gonna weight 297 grams and it's gonna waste a lot of filament. 363 plus 78 grams, coming up at a total of 739 grams. What I'm gonna be showing you is 2 tips to reduce the filament usage. So it was at 739. Let me show you some quick tips. Go over here to flushing volume and we're going to be reducing to 0.8. So by this, it's going to reduce 20% on filament change. So by going to one color to another, it's going to purge less filament. So by multiplier, you're going to be selecting 0.8. Multiplier, it was at 2. Remember this number, 739 grams, okay? 739 grams. Another tip is going right here and flush into object. So by flushing into object, you're gonna be flushing into the object in fill. So by this, you're instead of purging, you're gonna be, which would be wasted filament, is gonna be depositing inside that your model. So let's slice and see how much these tips will reduce in filament waste. So as you can see, I just sliced the model. Then for shockers, it was at 739 grams and reduced to 600 grams. So this is 139 grams of the filament that we saved. This is really nice. So make sure you use these tips for other prints. As for the flushing volumes, make sure you do not reduce too much. Don't pass 0.6 because sometimes the filament can bleed into the other color. So by changing the colors, sometimes you can be messing up and mixing 2 colors that are going to turn into another color and won't look nice for your model. So as you can see, this tip reduced a lot in filament waste. I hope you enjoyed these tips. So the model is ready to print. Make sure you check all of our models in stlflix.com and happy printing. Bye-bye.
I hope you guys enjoy it. Those slicing videos are an initiative from STL Academy, which is the educational project from STLFlix. So if you guys want to learn more about 3D printing, you could check our description and look at STL Academy courses. And don't forget, see you guys at the next slicing.